Quick Shots with your hosts,
Bob Katie
and John Picarillo.
I can burp now because John's not here
Yes,
to yell
you
at
can
me.
do that freely.
I know. I don't get yelled at.
Well, let's get one of these out of the way.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
No, it's a podcast.
All right.
Yeah, we're doing another one here without John. You're going to hear a few of these. Mr. Personality sometimes isn't here, so
Yes.
we're still moving on, putting the content out. Pretty soon we'll get a cardboard cutout, so we'll get 3 cardboard cutouts. So when one of us isn't here, it'll just be the cutout.
Just get a hat and a wig.
A hat and
Put it on the microphone.
put it on the microphone, and just hear this once in a while.
I said stick it in your ass.
Yeah, John again isn't here, but Jay's filling in, of course.
Hi.
Hi, he's going. So if you're listening to this one, we did one. We put one out there without John. Our first one, we talked about some football, and we're kind of going to throw a few out there at you before the season starts to gear up for some football.
Yeah.
So we don't have any football music because then the NFL would sue us, and
Yes.
they've been in so much trouble they need to sue somebody. And we're not going to give them that,
Yes.
but I can do this.
No one circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills.
And we'll see about that. We did get to see some of the NFL schedule has been out, and I know Buffalo did a lot of improvements, but I still have that why do they have to? I know we have Rex Ryan, and we did all the. We're supposed to be all super talented and everything, but we haven't got into the playoffs. We haven't really proved ourselves, in my book anyway. And it's like we have a Monday night game against the Patriots. And I just have that fear for that last 14 years. We get to embarrass ourselves in prime time. Yay. And, of course, when you have a coach like Rex Ryan, it's ultra. It's even, amped up even more. So now we can even be more embarrassed.
Yeah.
I hate Monday night games. Even when we'd win them, I hate them. We got to wait through Sunday.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to getting up, watching football.
Right.
And especially with the Steelers and Bills, we're 1 o'clock. Boom.
Right. Yeah. Always one. Yep.
I love that 1 o'clock game.
Yeah.
Bam! And it's not there. It's gotta wait till Monday.
Yep.
You gotta wait all the way through work and wait. And it's what a just terrible. Just terrible, terrible, terrible. And we discussed, that's why we think Jeff's hiding from us.
Finger painting?
Because he's finger painting somewhere and hiding because his Raiders suck really bad. And
They do.
I don't know if there's I know you can turn a team around real quickly nowadays, but it's going to be a few years. It's not like they broke the bank and went and got a great coach, Jack Del Rio. Yeah, I do like their quarterback. I wish Buffalo could take their quarterback there.
I don't know.
Carr.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. He's young. He looks like
They'll screw him up.
They're the Raiders. They'll screw him up. Well, it's time to see if the son isn't like the father with the Davises.
Yes.
He's already trying to move him, so he's always just like his father. Well, we always said to Jeff, the Raiders will win a Super Bowl and Al Davis is dead.
No. Well, maybe
So-
next time.
No. No. I don't know if I could handle him like winning a Super Bowl. I think his brain would go on overload. Yeah, I think he would just call each one of us and just say a bunch of stuff at us. He'd be like, yeah, because, hey, if Buffalo ever wins a Super Bowl, I'm going to call up a lot of people and say,
I said stick it in your ass.
that's for damn sure. You don't count because you've won a couple in the last decade.
Yes.
You did have a loss, though,
Yes, we did.
against Green Bay.
Yes.
Mr.
Yeah, we
Rod,
lost a couple.
you went to Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
Yes. Thanks to Richard Mendenhall.
I can't catch the he
Fumble.
he went to Arizona and then he quit football.
Yeah.
He retired.
Yep.
I saw a thing on him he's all like, I'm just going to live my life, be spiritual, and
Yeah.
eat
Just
granola
like our
and hug
linebacker.
trees. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, your linebacker
Yeah.
called it a day.
Yeah. He's gonna do what's it?
Some
I forget.
religious. Something.
Yeah, the one that goes to the knocking on doors.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. No.
No. Yeah, I know what you're talking.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, Jehovah's
That's
Witness.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, I used to love when these
Yep.
come around our house.
So there you go. Yeah, whatever.
They used to knock on the door.
Yep.
Make sure you have some satanic song blasting in the background when you open it. The one time John almost did it. I told him we were actually, my mom was out of town. We were having band practice in the living room, the family room, and you could see him. I don't know if we were loading some equipment in or something, and we saw them making their rounds. You know, if you're lucky and you can see them, you could maybe do something funny.
Yeah.
And we were like thinking, and then I was just like, John, why don't you just go into the door naked? and he was dating Julie at the time, and I think if she wasn't there, he would have done it. But I think she had that like, no, but him, it would have been like,
Yeah.
he would have walked up to the door and been like, hello.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
That would have been great. That would have been one of those videotape moments you would just love to have their reaction. The funny thing is we could still have him do that stuff, and he would still do it.
Yes.
Nothing's changed. Nothing has absolutely changed with him on that. That's for sure. Well, again, during the season, we're going to obviously talk about the games of that week. You'll probably hear us on we'll probably put the podcast up on like a Wednesday, right in the middle of the week, so we can get a little preview of the Thursday night game we'll do, and sum up what all happened the week before.
Yeah.
And everything. The Monday night game will be over. Christ's sakes, they haven't given us a Tuesday or Wednesday game yet.
Yeah.
You feel like they're spreading it the next day. What's it going to be?
Maybe once they move to Europe, we'll.
Well, I don't know why they had. Sometimes you're just getting too big for your britches.
Yeah.
But when we do put our football show out there for the fall, we're gonna have all the bells and whistles and everything. We're just kind of shooting a few at you right now, and we're doing a few top tens. Get warmed up.
Yeah. Get ready for
warmed
the
up.
draft.
That's right. Getting rid of the draft. Probably have a draft preview coming at you. We'll actually do our homework and know what we're talking about.
Maybe.
Could be. Maybe.
Snap out of it.
All right, maybe not. Well, we're going to run in and we'll whip you out another.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
I walked right into that one. We will whip out another top 10 for you. This time we're going to do 90s quarterbacks.
All right.
Which I guess the stipulation is we kind of went with guys that were in their peak, in their prime in the 90s.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get like when they started, and the 80s would be like clogged.
Right. Yeah.
So, we went with guys that were in their prime in the 90s.
Right. And I think we put out that we excluded Montana from.
Yeah, because he
this.
wasn't in his prime.
Right.
during the
Yeah.
90s.
He's
he's
pretty
an
much said
80s.
we can't. We left that out.
Yeah.
So.
So
Want me to
let
start
Jay
this
start.
one
Yeah,
off?
sure. Start off.
We had this discussion pre going on the air, but there's 10 was probably we can get 9. I think both of us came up with
Pretty
9
easy
without
9.
with an easy to get 9, but 10 we'll go with Jeff George. Just make it quick. There's like a bunch that were crappy 10s. We're gonna go with Jeff George. So
And it's amazing that
Not gonna
he's
talk about
there
him too
because, I mean,
Yeah.
you talk about a car wreck.
yeah,
Maybe you could really say a couple of good seasons,
yeah.
but I mean,
Yeah.
just a car wreck.
Yeah.
He was one of those guys where it's like he gets there, he has one good season,
Right.
and then everybody's all their fans, that team's pumped up next season,
Yeah.
and he just goes, blah,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It was
You know what? I'm going to throw a curveball because I think this quarterback had a lot better career than Jeff George, and I'm not going to. I just, even though Jeff George has the stats,
Right.
I don't feel he had a great career, no matter what his stats were. He
All
was
right.
just miserable. I'm going with Boomer Esiason
All right.
because, he was pretty miserable with the Jets in the 90s, but he had some really good years with Arizona. He had like that one game that was like that almost like 600-yard passing game in Arizona. In fact, I think he broke the record at that time.
All
I think
right.
somebody else broke it. But I'm going to go with Boomer. He got to a Super Bowl. I know it was in the 80s, but
All right.
he, I mean, you can't fault him for being on the Jets.
All right.
As we could see, the Jets in the 90s, there's a lot of quarterbacks that went to Super Bowls, Neil O'Donnell and Boomer Esiason, that didn't go anywhere. So that'd be my
All right.
number 10.
All
I can't do the Jeff George thing.
All right.
So you're number 9?
Drew Bledsoe.
You know what? I'll second that with number 9, Drew
All right.
Bledsoe.
Yeah.
He became a Bills player in the 2000s.
Yep.
And I think he hit his. I think probably his first and second year with Buffalo, he hit his ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
I think with the way you have to play defense now,
Yeah.
I think he'd be a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would. I think he has he would have had a bigger upside in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
But back then, that's when he started, defenses were still defenses.
Yeah.
That's when. And matter of fact, right around then, that's when Pittsburgh was putting in the big zone blitzing
Yep.
schemes and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, but he did have that thing of standing like a fucking statue.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. His years in Dallas were miserable. Were really miserable. I don't know how we surrounded him with talent in Buffalo, and it wasn't his fault in Buffalo. The first year he was there, he had a great year. We had some offense. Our defense was so bad that we couldn't stop anybody. So we couldn't score We couldn't score. We were scoring like 30, 40 points, but the other team was scoring like 40-some to 50 points. And
Yeah.
our defense was so bad. But yeah, I never thought Bledsoe was terrible, but I thought obviously Brady was the better quarterback, and that makes Belichick look like a great person, whatever.
I said, stick it in your ass.
Exactly. You're number 8.
Then
8.
from standing like a statue to running around like crazy to Randall Cunningham.
And again, I'll say, my
Yeah.
number 8's Randall
Yeah.
Cunningham.
Yeah. Making
Yeah.
this list easy.
That guy was amazing,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
He was like one of those guys that, like, in some of the games, he would eventually bite it and do a mistake that would
Yeah.
cost him.
Yeah.
But everything up to that mistake
Yeah.
was like, if he wasn't so amazing
Yeah.
and athletic, they wouldn't have gotten to
Very-
that position to
very-
make that
yeah.
mistake.
Nope.
I mean, that guy was like rubber band Superman.
Yeah.
He was. I wouldn't say the first running quarterback. It's probably Fran Tarkenton was
Right,
the
yeah,
first.
Fran Tarkenton, but-
I mean, he took it to that. He
He
was the
was-
first one to take it to the
Right.
guys we see now, like Kaepernick
Yeah,
and
sure.
Russell Wilson and
Yep.
those type of guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you need to
Very-
put Cordell Stewart in there.
No.
Slash.
No.
So that was number 8. So
Number
you're
8.
number 7.
Yep. Number 7, Warren Moon. CFL
Yeah.
and NFL quarterback. But-
This list might be the same all the way up for me and Jay. I go
Really?
Warren Moon.
It's the Warren Moon also?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Houston with the run and shoot. Even when
Yeah.
he revived himself in Minnesota,
Yeah.
he was still.
Yeah.
Yeah, and CFL, he had a great career. He won? He won like 3 or 4 Grey Cups there.
Yeah.
So
Something
I mean,
like that. I don't know.
he was
exact
he
stats,
was the
but-
Joe Montana of the CFL,
Right.
In the
Sure.
the early '80s.
Yep.
He was winning.
Yeah,
he was winning them
definitely
all.
great. One of the that great quarterback. Definitely.
I'll say
I-
the only thing I can remember is I'm sitting at my parents' house in the early '90s, and I think they were playing Denver in a playoff game. Houston was, and I'm sitting there with our friend Steve and brother Raj. I think he was like we were in my bedroom watching with the door open, and he was in the doorway there, and we were watching it, and like it was Denver coming back on them or something, and finally really kind of putting the game away after Houston had thought they were in that position to win it. And they show Warren Moon on the sideline. He just grabs his cup of water and he crunkles it all up and he throws it on the ground. And right when he does that, my brother goes, "I can't ever win. I ain't never get no Super Bowl." He throws it down, and we were just dying laughing. And that's pretty much summed up Warren Moon in the playoffs, though. Like, just ain't never gonna get there. Between that game, the greatest comeback in NFL history, won by the Bills, by the way, and the year Montana, Houston had home field. I don't know if they had home field advantage, but they were looking really good. And Montana and Kansas City came in, looked terrible, looked like Houston was going to roll over them, and then just steamed them in the second half. And again, another just drop off. Good old Warren Moon.
Yep.
Number 6. Yep.
One of the greats all time and great 80s quarterback, but 90s slipped a little Marino.
Marino?
My
Wow,
six,
you put Marino down that far?
6, yes. For me, yes. In the 90s, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
80s, way higher. Probably number 1 in the 80s for me, but 90s. 6.
Slipped a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can understand that. Yeah, I guess it's different if you're doing an all-time list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's where ours differ.
Yeah.
Mine would be Favre.
Really?
Yeah. Listen, he has the statistics. He's got all the statistics and everything. But if you go back and really look at his body of work, he, I mean, the what do you call it? I feel like he has more letdowns than he had, like other than the Super Bowl. He had like more letdowns and like, the picks at the last minute and all that stuff. But maybe that got I feel like his stats got compounded because of the length he played.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
almost feel like you do with Marino.
Yeah.
Like he had a huge beginning years, and then he just kind of tailed off, and I felt it was more the teams he played for, not necessarily himself. But
Okay.
That's just me. I'm not. I
right.
felt he was a little overrated, but
Okay.
number 5.
My what was yours then?
My 6 was Favre.
Oh, your 6 was Favre. My 5 is Aikman.
Yeah. I don't think Aikman was I don't think Aikman was like, I don't know. I have the same problem you do with Marino. With the exception of this, I guess I look at it as it all depends on how you look at the quarterback position. Aikman's got the rings.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And he, great accuracy, but when he didn't, to me, he himself did not elevate a team. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I guess I have a problem a little bit with Favre. Because when Favre won the Super Bowl, they had that great defense and everything.
Yeah.
So when Favre was on a bad team, the whole team, he didn't elevate that. His play didn't stand out and elevate things.
Yeah.
And Aikman was miserable until he got all the talent, huge amounts of talent surrounding him.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of surprised you had him that low, Aikman. But
Aikman.
Not an Aikman fan?
No, not at all. I think all his success was due to all of the talent that surrounded him. That's the only reason he was any good.
Yeah, exactly.
If he didn't have all the talent around him, he wouldn't have been that good.
No, he would have got slaughtered.
All right.
Mine's Jim Kelly. I know people are probably saying, what? You're putting the Bills fan, putting Jim Kelly number 5?
At 5?
I guess I look at it as the Super Bowls. It's hard for me to put somebody up there that doesn't have the Super Bowls, and I guess it's got to be mixed into the whole thing. I mean, if you ask me, yeah, I think I'd put him up a lot higher, but I guess I'm going with trying to be not a homer too much. So that's my number 5. Your number 4?
My number 4 is Jim Kelly.
Ooh, you got one up. Woo-hoo. Yeah, I felt 4. I felt in that 4 or 5 range somewhere. In there.
Yeah.
You know, I put him in that.
I think if he had the talent that Aikman had, he probably would have been number 1. My opinion, Jim Kelly.
I feel if he had that offensive line,
Right.
just the offensive line.
Well, if Kelly had the talent that Aikman had, yeah, he would have probably been the top
Yeah.
QB in the '90s. My personal opinion, I'm a big Kelly fan. I thought he was a great quarterback.
I think for me,
So.
you look at Marino, Elway, Kelly, Young, Steve Young. I feel that you could put those guys on on not a great team, and I feel like the 4 of those guys could elevate that team without a huge amount of talent around them.
Yeah.
You know, they were just good quarterbacks and were going to win no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, Elway's proof of that would look at some of those miserable fucking teams he got to the Super Bowl. Oops, I said that.
Booyah! That's what we call a sack lunch. Nom, 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 nom.
I figure that was pretty good for quarterback line there. My number 4 is Steve Young.
Okay.
Yeah, I go Young on there.
All right.
I mean, you talk about a running quarterback, but he's like the first running quarterback that is
Yeah.
deadly accurate. Though.
Yeah.
I mean, he could kill you with his legs and kill you with
Yeah.
his arm just as much.
Oh,
Talk
yeah.
about a dual threat.
Yep.
I mean, to a certain extent, I think he could have done just as much as what Montana did with those 49ers teams. You know,
Absolutely.
obviously he just didn't get a chance to get out
Yeah.
and play. But number 3?
My number 3 is Elway.
Ooh.
Yep.
Oh, now I'm scratching my head going, who the hell's he got as number 1? Now you got me scratching my head.
My
Yeah,
number 3 is Elway.
good old horse face.
Yes. Not much to look at.
Jackass.
My number 3 would be Marino.
Okay.
I guess it's just the massive amount of yards but you know what? I might have rethought that. You made me look at that a little bit differently with his prime being in the 80s. So I might have dropped him a little bit lower. I might have dropped him a little bit lower, but his stats are undeniable. I never cared for him because he was a Dolphin, and as a Bills fan,
Yeah, I know.
can't like the enemy. But you're number 2.
Steve Young.
Ooh, you went with Young.
Yep.
Mr. Young. Oh, I got a feeling I know who your number 1 is.
Yep.
Yeah, I
You
do.
mentioned him.
Yeah. You had that shocked what?
Yeah.
And I did.
Well, and I was going back and forth. Well, we'll talk about
We'll
yours
talk
first.
about it, my number 2 is Aikman because he's got 3 rings on his fingers. I mean, I agree with you completely. I don't think,
Yeah.
well, he was so, I always hear the first thing that comes out after he has 3 Super Bowl rings is he was so accurate. Well, number 1, he only threw the ball so many times
Yeah.
because they just handed it to Emmett.
All right.
And, I mean, when you have Michael Irving doing offensive pass interference every play
All right.
and getting away with it,
Yeah.
it's not hard to catch the ball.
And he had the gigantic offensive line in front of him. So,
Yeah. He had the wall from hell in front
Yeah.
of him.
so
He felt like he wasn't even touched.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, I put him up there because of the rings.
well, would-
You know what? I guess I probably went more where I've seen the list put them, and probably not as much where as I probably thought they should have been. So I probably failed a little bit on this list. But your number 1,
Favre. I just like the guy, and to me, it was I don't know. He was a clutch guy to me.
I say I don't look at him as much of a clutch guy.
Yeah, to me, it was like it was one of those guys. If I needed to have somebody with the ball and in
Really?
a snowstorm, and that's why I said my discussion was like Young and Favre. I was going back and forth between the two. with who I was going to have, and Favre played in Green Bay and Young played in San Francisco. It was like the weather that he played in.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
and I don't know. I just like the guy. He was tough, and I don't know.
Yeah, I will give him that.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I guess when it was Favre's going to come back, to me it always felt 50-50. Like
Yeah.
which Favre was going to show up.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl one or the guy who would walk over to Holmgren and Holmgren would be yelling at him like, "Really? You threw that?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, towards the end it was that way, but I mean when that guy was in his prime. Oh.
I guess I think about him trying to get through Dallas before they won the Super Bowl in the early 90s, where he would just throw that ball and you'd be like, "Oh, there's the game," you know?
Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
I'd have to review. I didn't do my homework, so I rushed the list a little bit. My number one.
You dumb son of a bitch!
You dumb son of a bitch.
Yeah, I know. My number one, I went with Elway.
Yeah.
I think. He did what I always wanted Kelly to do: win the last couple to totally reverse your career trajectory. You know what I mean? Because obviously, winning those 2 Super Bowls, even though he wasn't the focal point necessarily of
they
those Super
stacked
Bowls,
the team for him. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, finally. Finally. I mean, he did. I mean, he did have that run in that first Super Bowl, and he was still kind of clutch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Elway, you just felt, as much as you did Kelly too, not so much Marino, but Kelly and Elway, those two, I always felt like if you take the actual Super Bowl games out of it, they were just as clutch as Montana or any of those guys, even in the playoff games. It was just that, getting over that hump and that, and Kelly did have a great game in Super Bowl 25. That wasn't his fault. He's not the kicker.
Yes.
He's not the kicker, damn it.
Or the holder.
Was
he the holder? He wasn't the holder.
No, Reich was the holder.
was the holder.
The hold was fine. Ding Dong didn't hit it through the things. You know what I mean? Jesus. Unbelievable. He was like one of the most accurate kickers in history to that point. And it all went to hell then. If we had Steve Christie, which we got 2 seasons later, he would have knocked that thing through there and through the stadium. What the ifs, ands, and buts about it, right?
Why you got the weird look all over your face?
Because that one kills me every time. Yeah, so that's our top 10 of the 90s. And, so I guess this is...
Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy it. And
Something different.
We're going to give you more bells and whistles and streamline this a little bit more for the fall for our football podcast. We'll have all sorts of original music and everything, folks.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I'll get a few drops of John just to put in there. Through audio drops, I should say.
Mother puss bucket.
Yeah, any minute now he's going to come bursting through the set.
Dun, dun, dun! I am Captain Chaos.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah. I'm
And
expecting it.
This is my faithful companion, Kato.
Any minute now.
Yes.
No, I don't think he is.
He's joking around. Feels so good when he jokes.
That would be funny.
That would be if he just showed right up. Boom.
Dun, dun, dun!
That would be great.
Yes.
That would be great.
Yes.
You never know. We're going to start getting more loose with these podcasts. So you never know where we're going to come from or whatever. Maybe me and Jay will do a remote from a bar during the football season. That might be something, huh?
That would be crazy.
During a Sunday football game? You never know.
Never know. Could
That's
happen.
right. You could happen. We got things in the works, people.
Yeah.
And we'll figure them out after when we figure out what there's in the works.
It's not a tumor.
Absolutely.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Jay, I guess that was a quick shot, wasn't it?
That was.
All right.
All right. Bye.
From Homebrew Studios, this has been Bob and John's Quick Shots, brought to you by Bob and John's Super Duper Variety Power Hour.